And then freelancer Sarah Wernick, she often collaborates with specialists in the field, and that's another area of ghostwriting. Besides celebrities, people tend to think that that is all about, that's the only kind of books. But really, there's a lot of people whose websites you have now that talk about focusing on businesses and using that as a marketing tool, or focusing on people who want a memoir to give to their children, and that kind of thing is another whole genre of writing that you can make money in. This lady, Sarah Wernick, concentrates with people like maybe someone who knows a lot about autism, who's an expert on autism, and she'll help them write a book about it. And she says, collaborative writing isn't a path to fame, but it can offer fortune. 5 of my 6 co-authored books received 6-figure advances thanks to the marketing potential of my collaborators and their expertise. And Jerry Payne, who's a ghostwriter, charges between $10,000 and $40,000, and he does not guarantee publication. That's just to get the book done. But he does try to help clients get publishers. And he has a thing on his website that tells students, I will not write your class papers. And then he says, besides, you can't afford me. And then there's one guy that was quoting Writer's Digest, which has, and this is not the latest figures, but according to Writer's Market, they advise charging anywhere from $50 to $100 per hour for as Asked Told To project, and then $30 to $115 per hour for the no credit pieces. And then, of course, there was my own ghostwriter to consider. His name is Rocky, and he oversaw everything. And I had to pay him big bucks every day in food. So that was how I did the chapters. I put them on big cards, and I had them on a book just so I could visually glance at it. And it helped me a lot when I was in a conversation with Joanne about it. She'd say, you know, well, did that happen this time, or did, you know, I could help her pinpoint. Okay, any way that works method to complete the manuscript. Like I said, I met with Joanne only once so far, and that was during the revision stage. It was not during the writing. We did everything by phone and email. Usually, I would interview her, and then I'd transcribe it, then I'd write a chapter, and then she would edit that, and then I would rewrite it, and then she would edit. Sometimes she wrote it first, and then I would look at that, and I would do revising, and I would stick stuff in from times that we had talked about this or whatever. So we really did do anything that worked. I mean, toward the end, when we really needed to push to get through with things, I would turn the tape recorder on, and then she would tell me stories, word for word. She would tell me stories, and I would type as fast as my little fingers would fly, which I'm a very fast typist. And she is an excellent storyteller. I mean, excellent. She, you know, she can do that and make it sound just beautiful. So that really worked best for us, and we didn't really stumble across it toward the end. So, and then I would go back and sort of clean it up and polish it a little bit. Skills needed. I would say that really some fictional techniques, because you have to write first person, and you're trying to write it as if you are that person. I would say definitely organization. I had to keep up with version 5 of chapter 6 that we worked on 3 months ago and find a particular passage. And I mean, really and truly, in this particular case, organization was just essential. And Joanne has dyslexia, so it was not big on her thing, and Lacey also is not, I wouldn't think that she would say that she is that either. They're both very creative people and very, you know, larger than life people, and I'm sort of, you know, over here taking notes and making sure everything works. I'm the clerk in this case. And that you also do as much editing as you do writing, I would say, in this kind of project. Visual organization, like I said, that I had the chapters here, and the other board there is her timeline, different things that happened at different points in her life when her children were born. I had a world map because this lady's life has just been all over the globe, literally. She was, at one time, she was the honorary consul for both Morocco and Pakistan at the same time. She has been in England. She was She was there the night that Diana announced that she was pregnant. I mean, she has lived a life, I'm telling you. But anyway, so I had those. That was her life board, just timeline. Okay, how co-writing differs from other kinds of writing. I've mentioned the first person kind of thing. Let's see. The point is that you are trying to write like that person, that you're using their words and you're telling their stories in the same way that they would tell their stories. And it really is sometimes hard because you might want to put it a different way. You know, every once in a while I would think, oh, but it sounds better this way. But, you know, the bottom line with this kind of book is it is their story and it is the way they want it to be. It is not about you. I mean, you have to really, you know, take your ego out of the equation. It is not about, you know, this is my book and my story and it's not. I don't feel like that. I mean, it is Joanne's book. So, you know, if you have a problem with that, then I wouldn't advise you to get into this because, you know, but like I said, I have to have that credit at least. But that really isn't that hard for me. I know some of you are investigative reporters and you uncover deep, terrible things that are happening out there in the world, and I'm in such admiration that you can do that. But I have never been that kind of writer, ever. I'm more soft, you know. I tend to find the best in people. I mean, that I think is the talent that I've been given, that's what I look for and that's what I find. And that really is a good skill to have when you're writing this kind of stuff because that's what you want for the person. I mean, it's supposed to be, you know, an honest account, but you're telling your life story in the most flattering way you want to tell it. So I think that helped. It's a little bit more than a biography or an autobiography. A memoir is more about choosing the points that are the most interesting. It's not about getting every little detail in there. You're supposed to be making it a narrative that flows of that person's life, but not, you know, I was 6 years old when I started school and stuff, you know. I mean, and I think we were successful at that after getting rid of a lot of stuff. I think we've written this book about 6 times. Let's see. And if I did feel like it was something important enough, if I felt strongly about something, I felt comfortable bringing it up with her. But I just had to know that the bottom line is she got to choose. I did Google to find out what other ghostwriters said about that, and Stephanie Golden offered this piece of wisdom. She said, basically, you don't want too personal a connection with someone who's paying you or whom you're paying if you're the person hiring a ghostwriter. It's hard enough to deal with the normal problems of the writing process without having to navigate emotional needs or irrational expectations. I've also found that even when you don't particularly like the other person or want to develop any personal closeness, as long as you respect him or her and both parties behave with integrity, you can have an excellent working relationship and produce a terrific book. But this person, I would say this next person really needs to get out of the collaboration game. This person writes, steel yourself for the possibility of dealing with egomaniacal personality disorders. You might be lucky enough to team up with reasonable co-authors, as I have in some cases. However, many experts, particularly celebrities and the nouveau riche, treat you as though you were the hired help. They refer to you as my writer, as in my chauffeur or my cook. Be prepared for periods of seething anger, during which you flagellate yourself for squandering your time and talent by turning a member of the illiterati into a candidate for the bestseller list. And most of all, know in advance that once the manuscript is finished and accepted, the expert will almost certainly believe that he or she has actually written the book. You'll get your when or your and byline, and you'll get a teensy little bio blurb. Carol Smith is a freelance writer living in New Jersey. And you'll probably get a nod in the acknowledgments. Carol Smith deserves my gratitude for helping me put this book together. But most often, you won't get credit for your true contributions. All righty then. I think this lady needs to find something to do, because she was bitter.
Yeah.
I did not have that experience. The strangest places I worked on this morning. At a Steve Moakler concert at a coffee shop at Sanford with my daughter, because we had tickets and I had a deadline, so I sat there amongst the college kids typing my book. At Joanne's high-rise condo in Houston with about 12 people in and out at 3 or 4 in the morning. We worked around the clock. On a Carnival cruise cabin on the way to and from Mexico with a bunch of my high school friends. At a child's table, sitting in a child's chair in the lobby of Children's Hospital while my child participated in the sleep clinic. At various relatives' houses during holidays, funerals, weddings, etc. At the Birmingham, Homewood, and Hoover libraries. At my son's basketball practice and at my daughter's guitar practices. My family is so ready for me to be through with the book. And then what I'm doing now to further my brand and expand my freelance opportunities. First of all, you can see all the cheesy marketing that I have done. I think I've told some of you here, there's this wonderful company, Vista.com, and I get these emails from them about once a month, and they are offering free, free this or free whatever for just the shipping costs. And of course they want you to buy more stuff, and I never do. I'm like their best customer, but I only order things that I can get for free that are shipping. And I got this little thing here. You have to use their templates, and so they had a template for a jewelry store that had diamonds at the bottom, so I got that for the title of the book, Diplomacy in Diamonds. And I have these to hand out to you guys. These are all my promotional aspects. Little poster cards that I can mail out to folks when the book comes out. And then I have this t-shirt. I mean, I'm really into the cheesy marketing. I have a hat. I got a free notebook. I mean, I'm serious. I got my business cards. It's an amazing place. And eventually, I probably will spend some money besides shipping. But, for now. Let's see. And here are my family going incognito because they don't want anybody to see that they've got this hat on. That's my daughter and my husband. And then, of course...
I want Mark to wear that.
Yeah, Mark does not know he's here. And of course, my ghostwriter had to get in on it. And then other things that I'm doing to further my brand, I joined Publishers Marketplace, which I would, if you are interested in this kind of work, I would definitely recommend it. It is $20 a month. You don't have to sign a contract. You can drop out anytime you want to, but it gives you access to agents, editors, the book deals. A lot of times they'll say how much the deal went down for. It's really, that's where I found out the Billy Joel got $3 million. You can find out the gossip too in the book industry. But they also allow you to put a profile up, which, if people are looking for somebody to write books, this is where they're looking. And I actually have had some people contact me because of this. I didn't pursue any of them because there weren't things that interested me, and I didn't think there was a lot of backing behind it. I wasn't sure that they were really ready for a person to hire. But I'm hoping once the book comes out that I'll get a lot more hits from this. But I would recommend that, Publishers Marketplace.